Hi everyone, welcome to the PrepZone pregame show. We're live from Staples High School, the Junkyard, where today the Staples Wreckers are going to take on the Falcons of Fairfield Ludlow. Staples comes in at 12-2, and Ludlow is 11-3. In the pregame show, I have here with me our head football coach, Adam Behrends. Coach Behrends, how are you?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Obviously, it's a little bittersweet to have you here today, because we're here to talk about, you moving on to a much better opportunity. Let's start with that. Talk about where you're going, what's happening with you, and how did the decision come about.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say it's a much better opportunity. This place has been awesome. I love being here. It's a chance to reunite with one of my...
Let me interrupt you real quick. We're live, but let me just fix the mic so I'll make sure everybody gets you 100%. All right, let's go. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to reunite with the guy that coached me in college. I played special teams for him, so unique opportunity. I've always kind of wondered what it'd be like coaching FBS football, so really sad leaving here and really appreciative of the opportunity, but Staples will keep rocking.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before, and I want you to tell the audience, you're going to New Mexico State, if you don't know.
New Mexico.
New Mexico. People to know, right. And let's talk about what's on your schedule this year. Where are you going to be going? Where are you going to be coaching?
We open up week 1 in the Big House against Michigan. Week 3 will be in the Rose Bowl against UCLA, and then we travel to Boise State towards the end of the season. So
that's incredible, right? It's so good. And what is your role going to be like there? What is your role? What are you going to be doing?
So I'll be an offensive analyst. I'll be helping with quarterbacks and receivers. They have a quarterback and receivers coach, so just helping them with whatever they need. I'm sure I'll be breaking down a lot of film and making a lot of different playbooks and things like that, whatever they need me to do.
Yeah. And what did you think? Obviously, moving to the next level, but what was the main factor for you to take this position?
Just an opportunity to keep advancing, to see if I could do it at the highest level. This place has become a home to me. I love it here. Community, everybody's always done right by me, but it just kind of came down to the familiarity with knowing somebody there, but then also never looking back and wondering what if.
Couldn't agree more, because you got to jump for these opportunities, right? As much as you can. I'm sorry, we're live right now, ma'am. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. It happens when you're going live right now. You're going live.
You're a hot commodity.
That's right. Listen, let me ask you. Your record with Staples is 40-16. Over the last 2 years that I've been doing this, you only lost 3 games. Talk about what went into turning around this program. Talk about the beginning. How did it start? And what do you see? And I know you're living in a much better place than you found it. But, talk about this period. Summarize it for us a little bit.
It starts with the staff, the things they do, the culture that they've set, really who they are to the kids as mentors and leaders. I know the kids look at them as, whether you want to say another father figure, an older brother, a friend, but they're there for them in that regard. So I think that was the first thing, that those guys getting the kids to buy into what we were doing and knowing that they would do anything for them. So at that point, you had a bunch of good soldiers that would follow them, and then, they're awesome technicians, and they know the game inside and out. So obviously that was helpful, and just having the community support us through, we went 2-8 our first season. A lot of people were really excited about what was going on, but the people inside the walls, they were excited about it, and they bought in, and they gave everything they could to the broadcast. So it was a collaborative effort, and I don't think we would have had the success we ended up having, again, if it wasn't for the staff and the kids and their parents and the community and the administration. So it was an all-hands-on-deck deal, but there's a lot of people that played a big part in it.
Yeah, we've talked so much, you're so humble, but I always think it starts at the top. You need good leadership, and you provided that for so much, so you're thankful. Out of this whole thing, obviously the championship game is going to stick to mind, but besides the championship game, what was your favorite moment as a Wrecker?
I remember a moment during our first season. We were meeting with the season's ending, meeting with the underclassmen, and obviously didn't have the result we wanted year 1, but seeing the belief in their eyes and the determination, you could see there was a fire there, which is unique after going 2-8. So that was a big moment for me, knowing that it wasn't just myself and the staff that had a vision that we believed in. You could tell the kids were all on board, and the staff, just the guys that have been here since the beginning, the loyalty was a big thing, and obviously the loyalty with the kids to stick around. So that will always be a moment that sticks with me, because it would have been easy for those kids to cash it in, and I've never seen a group of people more focused in a meeting or more focused on something that was being said.
Now, I want to ask you, and I don't know how much you can share, but how did it go over when you told the team you were leaving?
It went well. Everybody's been supportive. I haven't had any negativity. I think the kids were genuinely excited for me. They told me they were bummed that I wasn't going to be coaching them anymore. I let them know I'll be around. I'm only a phone call and a text away. I'll be back here to visit. This place is a home to me, but they definitely looked surprised, but I appreciated it. It seemed like they were genuinely and sincerely excited for me.
Yeah, I think that's the sentiment, right? I know that when I found out, the first thing I thought about, oh my God, I can't believe he's gone. But the second time is like, so happy, right, that we got a chance. I'm always the kind of guy that says, don't crack it over, smile because it happened.
Right.
And we had a chance to have you for all this time. When you look back, at your time at Staples, what is the one thing that, I guess, surprised you the most, positively?
I would say how good the football is up here. I think it's a shame. I think Connecticut's really under-recruited. Hopefully I can maybe change that. I don't know how many of these guys will be willing to go to New Mexico. But
it's hot in New Mexico, right?
It's cold in the mornings. It's hot in the afternoons. I think it's at like 6,000 elevation. But, yeah, I've been really impressed with the football up here, especially in Fairfield County. It's the best conference in the state. It's not even close. But I think it's really under-recruited, but I was really impressed with the football up here, and every year I'm more and more impressed with it.
Right. And why do you think it's under-recruited?
I think just the fact it's in the Northeast. The kids up here don't do it year-round. There's a lot more multi-sport kids here than there is in the South, which I think, the more time you put on task with something, the better you'll be at it. But you can also kind of hit your ceiling a lot higher, and I think there's a lot of untapped potential with a lot of our kids. I'll use Caleb Smith as an example. He doesn't throw 12 months out of the year. He plays football. He turns over into basketball and was a big part on that team, and then he turned over into lacrosse. He was a big part of that team, and so just didn't have as much time on task. So I think that has something to do with it. But again, with that being said, I think there's a lot of untapped potential with the kids here.
Now that was a good point, because I saw that the lacrosse channel put out that when you came here, you guys are encouraging kids to play the multiple sports. Can you talk about that? What you and Krzyzewski did here?
Yeah, that was one of the first things we did. He already had a good relationship with one of the assistant coaches, and then Will and I definitely tried to build off that. And I realized that year one, Charlie Howard, who was probably top 50 lacrosse kid in his class, he was our holder that year as a sophomore, which it's a unheralded position, but it's really important. And we've had a lot of success with Coach Horton and Coach Smith, and with our specialists over the years. I think we've only missed like 4 or 5 extra points in the last couple of years. That's really important. We haven't missed a lot of field goals either. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I started thinking about all the success we had with the field goal team. Sorry, Charlie Howard.
And you were talking about playing multiple sports.
Yeah, so he came to me and was like, I won't be at the North Haven game. And I said, what? He's like, I won't be there. I have a lacrosse showcase. And the assistant coach is kind of like, I was like, all right, man, good luck. I was like, what? What do you mean he's not going to be there? He's like, you'll understand this from being an IMP. Charlie's one of the best players in the country. So he needs to go to the showcase because that's his number one sport. Right. So at that point, I realized really quickly we can either cut our football team in half, or I can take a Charlie Howard and get 95% of him during the football season. And he ended up being an all-conference player for us, was an awesome contributor throughout his career here. So to have 95% of that kid, or 90 or 85 or 80, I'd much rather have that than to not have him be a part of our program. And I know Will views it the same way. There were times where Caleb had to go to football camps and came running to, I think they're playing in Massachusetts, but he went to the camp and then he had to drive to the game. He showed up, changed in all of his lacrosse gear, went out and played. And so we had the same idea and kind of the same thoughts in regards to how we wanted to view that and how we wanted to make sure we shared the guys.
Right. And listen, the success is there, right? Because you both have won state championships, you both have won FCIAC, so it was amazing. But it seems to me, and I'll ask you again, you are supportive of athletes playing multiple sports.
Absolutely.
What do you think is the biggest positive to that?
Just that they're learning how to move their bodies. My background was in strength and conditioning before I had gotten into football. And, I like to think I was a decent athlete, but I think I developed a lot of that through, there was a park right by my house. I was always climbing on stuff, always jumping off of stuff, coming up with whatever games we could play. We played roller hockey, we played baseball, football, basketball. So I think doing all those things, it gives somebody a good base of functional movement, and I think it really helps become like a fluid mover and to really understand their bodies, which would be the opposite of somebody just playing quarterback their whole life. They're not learning a lot of different movement patterns. And on top of that, if they're not doing the multiple sports, they're probably just sitting at home playing video games like this all day. That's not helping.
Right, that's a good point, right? Because you're not outside, not doing your thing. I mean, it's been so great. Like I said, we've been in PrepZone for 2 years. I've seen you lose very few games. State championship was amazing. From that championship game, what was your favorite moment of that championship game? Or a story that you can share now.
It was cold. I appreciated the Gatorade bath afterwards. It was funny. Afterwards, somebody was like, "Oh, I didn't realize they dumped that on you. I thought like you were just really sweaty." I was like, but that was cool. Just all the kids grabbed me and slinging me around. It was just a fun moment, and that's why I do this. I think one of the best compliments I ever got here was from Max Murillo at his signing day. He just thanked me for teaching him how to be a competitor, but to have fun while doing it. So to just be able to run around and celebrate with the guys and have a fun moment like that'll be something that always stays with me.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to be very close in a lot of that run. And one thing that I noticed was that how you always kept things positive, right? I mean, kids would make a mistake because they do. Everybody does throughout, and you always next play.
Depends what game you're talking about.
But let's say most of the game. Because I remember, when let's talk about Max. He missed that extra point. He comes off the field, and I think you're the one that said to him, "We're going to need you later on." And he turned out to be the biggest play. Is that something that you've always done, coaching philosophy? Talk about that a little bit.
No, definitely not. I remember talking to receivers coach at IMG, and I think I told you the story on your podcast, but we didn't have a super detailed group that year at that position, and so it was inherently affecting my quarterback, so it was kind of annoying. So I was like, why don't you ever just run through their face and come unhinged on them, they need to do better. He goes, I know I can be harder on him, but what do you want me to do, yell at him for dropping the ball? He didn't try to. He's trying to catch it. He wants to catch the next one. I don't, if everybo's yelling at him and being negative to him, he's going to be thinking about that, not focusing on catch the ball. So that was kind of an eye-opener to me. And then to our coaching staff and the guys here that really intrigued and interested. Coach Maddie's awesome, and he loves all the leadership stuff and the mental conditioning. So it was a good opportunity for me to sit back and learn some of that stuff from him and some of the thoughts behind it. So being around him is definitely, and the rest of our guys, Coach Philpott, I mean, I could come to him and complain about 18 different things, and this is sideways and that, and he'll always hit you with the but think about it this way. So those guys have all helped me a lot with that.
Your staff is great. I mean, everyone around the program and everything. So I want to ask now, we're going to talk a little about the town of Westport, right? I mean, you're here for 6 years, right? What was your favorite restaurant?
I'm going to have to go with Viva Zapata, my guy Harry Brady.
And what was your favorite dish to order there?
Cheeseburger. They have awesome nachos too.
So you ordered from the Downey Gringo menu?
I do. So one time actually, maybe 2 months ago, I was there with him and Coach Ron Clark, and I was like, Harry, I don't want to say this too loud, but I was like, am I kind of a loser for ordering that? Is that kind of unacceptable? He goes, no, not at all. He goes, we make a good burger. It's won awards, and it has, and it's delicious. It's the best burger I've had here, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't being disrespectful by getting it. I like the food that they have there. I love their nachos, but I really like their cheeseburger.
What I eat a lot of the Mexican food. My favorite thing from there is the ribs. Have you had their ribs before?
I haven't.
So before you go, I know how long I'm going to stay. Their ribs are amazing. So I'm kind of like you too. So I'll go there and I'll order like straight from the menu, right? All right,
Harry, if you're working tonight, I might stop down and try the ribs.
Try those ribs. So what was your favorite hangout spot in Westport besides the park? Like some place to go, favorite store, things like that about town?
I like the library here. It's the nicest library I've ever seen. Your headquarters.
All the time, yeah.
No, I like parking up in the by the windows there and getting stuff done, or up on the upper deck they have there. And then whenever I would go for a run or a walk around, I'd take that loop around down Imperial and then down by Saugatuck and back to the library. That's usually where I would park, but I really like that area and hanging out down there.
And what is the fondest memory outside of the football you're going to take from the town?
Definitely just the time I've spent with the community, whether it be hanging out at the beach party or running into parents at the Little Barn, or time spent with the coaches and hanging out in the office. But definitely the people. The people in the community here are definitely what made this a really hard decision.
Yeah, it's never easy, right? Because you're waiting so many things. But I know we're going to miss you a lot. So let's just talk a little bit about, you coach a lot of these guys in the basketball scene. So when you watch these basketball kids, what comes to mind? What do you like about them? What's the best thing?
I like my man Matty Corrigan beating Fairfield Ward. I like that a lot.
That was a fun game.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could tell it's kind of what we focus on. I don't know a ton about basketball or anything really, but it seems like they're a really fundamentally sound technical football team, and they always play harder. They're always going to outwork and out-hustle all the teams they play. And so what Coach Goldshore and those guys have done with the program, I mean, I love watching it because it's the things that, like I said, I like to pride our football program on. I'm excited to watch them keep winning, doing their thing, and go win a state championship.
Yeah. And now let's, as we close out here, is there a story they can share within the school? That was your favorite story. Now, not football, not now, within the school. That kind of makes you understand the Rutgers or Staple spirit.
I mean, a lot of the compliments we get from how our kids act in school, that's always been good. And then it's a little thing, but seeing how our kids pick up after themselves in the cafeteria. For everybody listening, pick up your crap in the cafeteria. It's disgusting. But that, and like how they've taken a leadership role in that. And then hanging out in Jim Farnham's office, hanging out in Officer Ed's office, going and talking to Colin in his office, seeing Coach McFarland and those guys around. So just walk around chopping it up. It's good people here. I love this place.
Yeah, I mean, I had Jim Farnham on, and he talked about how special 213 was because, he had a lot of those kids young. And then he got to see them win a state championship with you.
Yeah, I mean, we lost him. He went to Yale camp with us, and he did really, really well. He hadn't played football since his 8th grade year, but his son Jack, never having played. He stood out for us at Yale, but he ended up breaking his finger. And I was honest with him. I was like, baseball's his thing. He's like, I don't know. I was like, if baseball's his thing, like, you are risking maybe him injuring that and missing some baseball stuff, which he needed in the fall. So it was a bummer we didn't end up getting him. But, yeah, his son grew up, and he grew up coaching all those kids in our youth program.
A lot of special moments. Coach, I can't thank you enough. You're going to be very missed. I appreciate the time you gave us. Remember that first podcast you and I did where we had to re-record it? I recorded the whole thing backwards. Remember that? And I know you came out the next day. So you've been so gracious to us at PrepZone. I want to thank you. And so we're going to miss you a lot. And we wish you nothing but the best success. Hope you win a national championship and hope we're there to cover for you.
Yeah, I'll miss you too. I appreciate everything you do for the kids. I love your morning walks. For the coverage you've given and the support for me, I really appreciate it. And love you, Westport. It's been awesome.
Coach, best of luck.